All right, let's talk about a question that's on just about everyone's mind these days: protein. I mean, how much do we really need? To cut through all the noise, we're going to go straight to the top, to the World Health Organization, to see what they have to say. So let's just get right to it. Are you getting the right amount of protein? I mean, with all the high protein shakes and diet fads out there, you might be surprised to hear what the actual experts recommend. It's probably not what you think. Before we start throwing numbers around, let's do a super quick refresher on why this is even a big deal. Protein is, well, it's fundamental. It's literally the building block for your body. It builds your muscles, it repairs tissues, and it's absolutely vital for the hormones and enzymes that basically run the whole show. So we know it's important, but how much of this stuff do we actually need? Well, the WHO has a guideline for most adults that is refreshingly simple. Okay, here it is. For the average adults, the WHO recommends that protein should only make up about 10 to 15% of your total daily calories. That's it. So the goal isn't to pile on mountains of chicken breast, but to aim for a really sensible, balanced slice of your daily energy. So what does that 10 to 15% actually look like when you're making dinner? Well, if you're on a pretty standard 2,000 calorie diet, that translates to about 50 to 75 grams of protein a day. That's the number to kind of keep in the back of your mind. And you might be wondering if that's hard to get, but look how achievable that is with just regular, everyday foods. We're not talking about expensive powders or anything. A good meal with dal and rice, a couple of eggs, a piece of tofu, you're easily within that ideal range. Okay, so we've got our target number, but the WHO's guidance goes deeper than that. See, it's not just about hitting a certain quantity of protein. The quality of that protein might actually be even more important. So what do we even mean by protein quality? Well, it really boils down to two things. First, how easily can your body actually digest and use it? And second, does it have all the essential amino acids your body needs to, do its job of building and repairing? And this is where the advice gets really, really specific. When it comes to children, getting high quality, easy to digest protein is frankly non-negotiable. It's absolutely essential for their growth, for their brain development, and for building all that new tissue. For them, quality really does beat quantity every time. Now, this brings us to that classic debate, right? Plant protein versus animal protein. But here's the thing. The WHO doesn't really pick a winner. Instead, it sees them as different tools for different jobs, depending on where you are in life. Just take a look at this. For adults, a diet rich in plant proteins, think lentils, beans, things like that, is linked to a lower risk of certain diseases. But for kids and pregnant women who have these critical growth needs, the high-quality, easy-to-use proteins you get from things like milk and eggs are just vital. So the big takeaway from the WHO is all about balance. The best strategy isn't picking a side, but eating a varied diet that includes a mix of both plant and animal sources. That way, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the full spectrum of nutrients your body's looking for. All right, we need to tackle a huge myth that you see all over fitness blogs and social media. This idea that if some protein is good, then obviously more has to be better. The WHO has a very, very clear warning about this. So let's just ask it straight up. Is more protein always the answer? Well, according to the world's leading health experts, the answer is a firm, resounding no. For the vast majority of us, piling on extra protein isn't just a waste, it can actually be risky. So here's the core of the warning. When you eat way more protein than your body actually needs, you create what the WHO calls a metabolic burden. It basically means your body has to work overtime to process all that extra stuff, and that can cause problems down the road. And let's be specific about those risks. That metabolic burden puts a direct strain on your kidneys. They're the ones that have to filter out all the waste products from breaking down that protein, and doing that over and over, day after day, can really take a toll. For most people, it's just creating a bunch of unnecessary and potentially damaging work for your body. So we've gone through the what, the how much, and definitely the what to avoid. Let's pull this all together into a really simple, actionable checklist you can use to build a balanced plate. Here you go, your 5-point playbook straight from the WHO. First, aim for that 10 to 15% sweet spot. Remember, for most of us, that's about 50 to 75 grams. Third, always focus on quality, especially for growing kids. Fourth, mix it up. Combine plant and animal sources to get the best of both worlds. And finally, and this one is critical, avoid that more is better trap. It's just not worth the risk to your health. And that really says it all, doesn't it? There's no doubt that protein is powerful. It's essential. But according to the world's top health experts, the real secret, the key to it all, isn't loading up on more and more. It's finding that balance. Getting that just right is everything.